Good morning. It's Dispeller here today, and I'm going to be talking to you today about a new topic on narcissism. This one is called Narcissistic Addiction Physiology Twists and Turns. I know the title was a little bit different, but either way, same thing. So, I have this little method I'm going to try today. I have a clipboard and I have some stuff written down. I don't know if it's going to turn out backwards or not. I'm not really sure. So, just try to follow along as best as you can. I'm going to be kind of flipping over. You'll see I have some notes on the back with my little PowerPoint, if you will, ABCs, so I can flip back and forth to talk to you. This is an open discussion, so please do chime in the chat. I will be answering your questions, talking to you the best that I can, and let's share with each other some of the things we're going through and how we've overcome it and how we're working on it now. Okay, so let's talk about the first thing. When a narcissist has lost their power and their control over you, they often will. We're going to talk about online narcissists because the one narcissist that I met, the one I call Becky, was an online friend through a different forum, not YouTube. YouTube didn't have live streaming back then, and so we didn't have anything like that. But Becky and I were very, very close, as I've told you before. We didn't start out close. We were in a Bible study group together online. And as time went by, Becky and I kind of bonded. It's kind of an interesting way that it happened. One of my friends came to me and said, Becky knows that things ended really bad with Dove, your former friend, and she wants to kind of take you under her wing and help you through it and help you heal. Because I was devastated. I had a really close friendship for a little bit with a lady friend online. I went to see her at her house, and I was utterly shocked at how she behaved in person, how she controlled everybody around her. It turned out she had borderline personality disorder, which she was diagnosed with. She told me that before I even met her. I didn't know what it was. I wasn't in psychology classes at that point. I just knew she said she had this tendency of feeling out of control all the time and being very touchy and feelings changing all the time, that sort of thing. She didn't really specify exactly what it meant, so I didn't know. I found out in the friendship with her. I definitely found out. And when I met her in person, I definitely found out. I brought Amber and Randy, my two younger daughters, with me to Texas, where she lived at the time. And we saw things that blew our mind, like her son was in a soccer game and Dove would like scream out and try to tell the coach how to run the game. She'd yell at the team members and tell them how to move and go over here. No, go to the right. I told you to go to the right. And we're like, is she the coach? No, she wasn't. But that's how Dove would act in public. And she would always try to control everything. Her niece came over at one point and she wanted to show off her gymnastic skills. So she's like, hey, show Aunt Laura. She called me Aunt Laura. Show Aunt Laura how you do cartwheels. She's like, Aunt Robin, I really don't, or Aunt Dove, I really don't want to do that. She's like, no, it's okay. Show her. Here, I'll go and do it with you. So here's this grown woman in front of everybody doing cartwheels to get her niece to do something that she clearly was embarrassed about because she didn't know me. I was a stranger. She didn't want to do it. But there she was, tumbling on the grass with her niece, embarrassing and humiliating her utterly. I guess the thing I remember the most about my connection with Dove was that she, oh, really, JK Love? Good to see you, by the way. She definitely kind of forced people into doing what she wanted them to do, whether they wanted to or not. It was always a very uncomfortable feeling like you were out of control of your own choices. She told you what to do, and she would whine and kind of, I don't know how she did it, but she would manipulate you into doing what she wanted. Anyways, in the end, we ended up splitting up because I kind of saw through some of the behaviors while I was with her in person, and we split completely. We didn't talk online. We had nothing, and it devastated me because I had gotten very close to her. Well, in comes Becky. Now, Becky was friends with a lady we'll call Sue. And Sue and Becky were talking one day, and apparently Becky said to Sue, let Laura know that I want to kind of help her through this. I want to be her mentor. I want to be her spiritual mom, whatever. Okay, so Sue came to me and said, "Hey, Becky told me she wants to kind of take you under her wing and help you through all the pain that you've gone through, losing Dove as your friend and whatever." So I'm like, really? I mean, Becky really never showed any connection to anybody. So I really didn't know she felt that way, like she wanted to help me or, be my friend or anything like that or my mentor. So I was like shocked. And I'm like, yeah, but Sue, you and Becky are close. I'm not going to do anything to come into that relationship, come in between, because I don't play that way. I don't break up friends. I don't try to assert myself in the middle of relationships. I just don't do it. And she's like, no, 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 really, go and talk to her. So I did. I went and I talked to Becky. I said, Sue told me that you kind of want to like be my mentor, my spiritual mom, and kind of help me through all the pain I've been through with Dove. And she's like, she did? I said, yeah. She goes, yeah, she's right. I do. She goes, think about it, Laura. Who's always been there for you in the group? Who's been the one that's been the mother hen of the group that's kind of organized all the little chicks together? And when we didn't agree, I was the one that brought us all back together. And I'm like, I didn't really know what she was talking about, but I said, I guess so. She's like, well, I know that, I'm a minister and I can help you through this, and I'll hold your hand and you don't have to be alone anymore. And I can't believe Dove treated you the way she did, threw you out to the dogs, and just all this stuff about painting her as like the villain and me as the poor victim. So I can help you. I can help you. But I'm not going to force you. You let me know. You think about it. You pray about it. You come back and let me know what you think. Okay. So I went and I prayed about it, and I don't know if I heard God or whatever. I probably did, because years later, look at what I'm doing here, helping other people that are in these situations, hopefully. I went back to her. I said, okay, Becky, yeah, I agree. I think you should, I'm willing to embrace you as my mentor, as my spiritual mom, whatever, to help me through this. She's like, okay, that's fine. I'm going to send you some papers from my dad. He's a pastor, and we'll go over these papers together, and we'll pray together, and I'll minister to you, and I'll help you through this, whatever. Okay, so that is how we connected. That's how I met Becky. That's how we had a relationship, mentor to mentee, if you will. And ultimately, it was like almost 2.5, 3 years or something that we were together in a mentor-mentee situation. And then I've told you already in previous videos about how we were supposed to go to Africa and be missionaries, and that fell apart when I went and met her, and I was shocked at what I saw there. Anyhow, so let's talk about when I finally said, I'm done with you. It didn't work out. We're not compatible. You're a narcissist. I cannot deal with your narcissistic abuse and mockery and torment and whatever. How did it go from there? I'm kind of doing these videos in a random order. So basically, you're going to get anything on any video, and it's not going to be in order. So you'll just have to kind of piece it together yourself, because these thoughts just kind of come to me, and doing research and stuff, this is what I get. So here we go. So the first thing that she did was told everybody that she let me go. That wasn't how it happened. I told her, Becky, we're just not compatible. I'm really sad. I really wanted to go to Africa with you. I had money saved up, like lots of money, to take the flight out there with her. I said, you can't even stand me in a room for an hour, let alone sitting on an airplane with me and ministering all over Africa. And I remember her saying, oh, wait a minute. You thought we were going to go together around Africa? I said, well, yeah, I'm like your partner. She goes, oh, no, 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 no. No, as soon as we got off the plane, I was going to go over to my people that already know me and everything and go minister to them. And then you were going to go off and find your own people. Now, mind you, I'd never been out of the country. So this was a bit scary for me. I'm like, are you kidding me? You're just going to leave me high and dry and make me find my own way in a strange country where I know nobody, as a missionary, nonetheless. Well, yeah, I can't believe you thought I was going to like bring you with me. Oh my gosh, no, that's funny. Ha ha. And she like laughed. I was like, wow, okay. So yeah, that's what she told people, that she had to let me go. Now, let's talk a little bit more about that. So, when a narcissist claims that they ended the contact with you, which they do usually, it paints them as the victim because they'll say things like, well, she was stalking me and I felt really uncomfortable. She wouldn't leave me alone. She constantly came to me. She was blowing up my phone line, blowing up my text messages. She just couldn't let go of me. She was like addicted to me. So codependent, so dependent. It made me feel like she was smothering me. I mean, she wasn't being mean, but she just kind of couldn't unleash her grips off of me. She just like had talons into me or whatever. They say some kind of thing to paint themselves as the victim. So other people look and go, oh my gosh, well, no wonder you're out of that relationship. No wonder you had to let her go. Well, good for you. I hope you're doing so much better. Man, I don't blame you. And you're sitting there going, no, that's not how that happened. And of course, they say this because they know if you hear that or read that somewhere, you're going to go, no, that's not what happened. Why are you lying? Why are you telling these people this? Well, they're telling them that so that you get upset and you give them supply by reacting. Because the more they can attach to you, the more they get the supply. And I told you in the other video, they don't always want you to sing their praises or say how wonderful they are. They'll take any kind of attention they can get. That's what feeds their ego and their lack of sense of self. They don't have an inner core like you and I do. So they have to get it outside of themselves. So anything they can do to keep engaging you, they will do it. So basically, that's why she did that. Told people, I let her go. It was just too much. I couldn't handle it anymore. Poor martyr, poor victim. But yeah, you want to lash out and say, no, that's not what happened. Don't believe her. So the next thing is the bait and switch. Once you have, walked away, or so you think, you never really have walked away from a narcissist until they're really done with you and they've fully replaced you, which it could take a while. Anyway, so the bait and switch is this. The narcissist tries to contact you. They'll go through text messages or maybe a phone call or something. Usually text nowadays because everything is through text, and they'll be having a little conversation with you, and then they'll ask you a question or they'll just say something that gets you thinking, and all of a sudden, poof, they're gone. And you're sitting there going, yeah, and okay, did you have a question? And you're reading the text going, hello, are you there? And they'll leave you sitting there going, are you there? Hello. And they're long gone. They've gone and done something else. Who knows? Whatever. But you're still sitting there reeling, going, what just happened? Why did they disappear? Where did they go? I thought we were having this meaningful talk. Again, that's narcissistic supply. Hello. They're watching you chat. In my case, it was on Yahoo with Becky. We would have this talk about God or the Bible or whatever, or even just what happened with us when I was at her house. And then all of a sudden, she just stopped texting. If I did happen to catch her later, she'd say, oh, my computer went down. Or, oh, girlie, I got a phone call. Whatever. It's all a lie anyway, and it is. But they're just trying to save face because that's what narcissists do. So you're just sitting there going, oh, my gosh, I don't know what to think right now. Of course, because that's how they want you to be. They are spiritual, psychological, emotional vampires. They drain you dry. They don't care that you're left reeling. They enjoy every moment of that. They're very ruthless creatures. I don't even like calling them human beings. I know they are humans. They are human, but they're just ruthless to the point where you wonder if they're human. So Becky would sign off mid-conversation, and I'd just be left going, hello, are we still friends? Is this what you're saying? You want to reconnect? You want to rekindle? We're reconciled now, or are we not reconciled? Or was this just a fly-by-night conversation? And she wouldn't answer. So yeah, I would just blow up the text messages. What's going on? Are you okay? Did I say something? Was it something I did? And it was just giving her supply, basically. So don't do that. Next. So that was the bait and switch. The third thing is feel sorry for me. I'm the victim. I'm the martyr. I gave so much into this relationship. I just don't know what happened. I meant what I said. I really did love her. I cared about her. I tried to be a good mentor to her, but I just don't know what I did wrong. And sometimes they'll say these things to you for your brief little connection moments. It's just that, Laura, if only you had realized what I needed, if only you had known that I was going through a really hard time. And so they go from sympathy to guilt trips. And then you're like, I'm so sorry, Becky. I didn't know. I wish I could have been a better friend to you. And then she would say something like, that's okay. I got Susie back. So I'm good. In fact, she was a better match to me than you ever would have been. Aren't you glad we found that out before we got deeper involved? And you're sitting there going, I thought we had a good thing. We were together for like several years. No, I'm not glad you hooked up with my ex-best friend and now you're going to go minister in Africa with her. No, I'm not glad about that. Why should I be glad about that? And they're tactless and ruthless and just mean, evil people. They just are. So yeah, if only you had done this, if only you had done that, let's see. They'll just basically get you to try to feel sorry for them and just feel bad that you didn't do more to help them or cooperate with them. Or I tried to help you, but you wouldn't, listen to me. I kept trying to get you to pray the right way. And you were grieving the Holy Spirit. That's what you used to say. You were grieving the Spirit, the Holy Ghost. He was so grieved. If only you would have done what I told you to do. If only you would have done it that way. And I was like, I did it exactly like you said. I prayed exactly the prayer you told me to pray. And, it just didn't make sense to me. Now I'm talking spiritually because we were connected. So I thought spiritually. And that's what she used with me. People might do other things non-spiritually if you're in that type of a relationship. So the next thing is, again, this is kind of a play on what I just said. I've done wrong. They've really blown it and they feel awful. I wish I could have been more. I wish I could have done more. I just wasn't what you needed. I just acted terrible to you. I've done you wrong. I've harmed you. I can't believe I treated you that way. And I don't expect you to ever forgive me for it, but I just want to say how sorry I am. Actually, she never said she was sorry. She used to say, I just apologize. When somebody says I apologize, that's a whole lot different than saying, I'm sorry I hurt you. I'm sorry I did blank. She never could fill in the blanks. She would just say, I apologize. So that always threw me too. I apologize. I know that I didn't give you what you needed. I couldn't be what you needed. And this is to invoke sympathy in you, which, of course, if you are a codependent, which I was and am at times, this invokes that feeling of, aw, poor Becky, I didn't mean to hurt you. I didn't mean to, be so tough on you. Maybe I was a little bit hard when I addressed those things and called you out on that and pointed out things that I saw. I just feel awful. I must be a pretty bad person. And they're watching this and they're probably snickering over there on the other side of the computer screen or to your face if you're in person with them. And this just starts the whole cycle over again. Becky did this with me. She would reach out. She would say that she cared. This was after we split up, mind you. I would get these messages on Yahoo. Girlie, are you there? And I'd be like, watching. Girlie, I'm worried about you. I'm just checking in, making sure you're okay. Remember what I told you, I'd never be far away. She used to tell me that, like when we were friends or mentor, mentee, whatever. Girlie, even if we ever are parted, I won't be very far away. I'll be just a phone call, just a text message away. So she played on that later on. After we split up, she would just pop in random messages at any given time. It's just, I'm just trying to check on you, make sure you're okay. Like I said, I would. I'm never more than a text away. I kept my promise. Remember, I'm just worried. I'm just concerned. I'm right here. Just know that I'm here if you need me. She would do this so that eventually I would say, Becky, it's so good to talk to you. I'm so glad to see you again. Is everything okay with us now? And, no, girlie, I'm just checking in. I just want to make sure you're okay. So there you go. Dashed hopes again. No rekindled relationship. And she did this to me over and over again. And then when she didn't do this to me, she sent her little flying monkey goons to do it to me. One girl who she had hooked up with in ministry, who basically was my replacement, she would come and text me on Yahoo and say, I know this is really hurting you, that it's me and not you. What are you talking about? You and not me. Well, I know it's you that wanted to go, be invited to Becky's house and to go to minister with her in other countries. And I'm so sorry. I feel really guilty that she chose me. It really should be you, Laura. I should have never been your replacement. And she just kept doing this to me, like every once in a while. She'd be like, I know you're hurting. I know this is really devastating you. Even after I had moved on, I'd be like, no, I'm really good. I'm okay. She'd be like, no, I know you're just being brave. You're just, putting on this act, and I can see through it. I understand how you feel. And she just go on and on until I finally blocked her. I said, you know what? Go back to Becky. Tell her I am done with her. I don't ever want to hear from her again through you or anybody else. I'm done. Because it would just keep rekindling that old wound. And then this lady will go back to Becky and say, yeah, she's acting this way, or she reacted the way you said she would. And, and she was amazed by Becky. How did you know? How did you know? Well, Becky was a classic manipulator. Of course she knew. She had been doing this for years to people. So I wasn't her first victim. And by the way, if you are a victim of a narcissist, chances are you're not their first. They have honed this to a fine skill to get that supply that they need. They're always about the narcissistic supply. They are never about connection. They're never about marriage. They're not about love. They're not about friendship. They're not about partnership. They don't care about any of that. The only time they do care about that is what's in it for me. Am I going to get to feel like this person adores me? Am I going to get to feel like this person looks up to me and admires me, or that these people are in awe of all my knowledge or whatever? And very often they'll attach to you because you have gifts and skills they don't have. Like maybe you sing beautifully. That was the thing with Becky. Oh, I love your voice, and we could go so far in ministry, and I'll give you your own little pulpit, and you'll have your own little ministry on the side. I can do it, Laura. I have connections. So she wooed me in. That's called power posturing, by the way. When somebody tries to elevate you to a position, says they have this unique thing that's just for you, and then they yank it out from under you before you even get there. Yeah, she liked to do that. So let's go back to our little list here. This is everybody's lack of favorite, because it's really not a favorite. The smear campaign. Anybody ever been a victim of that? Well, it's the internet. Of course you have. If you hooked up with the wrong person, which most of us have, especially people that listen to my channel or watch it, we've all been victims of the smear campaign. So the narcissist will smear your character to prevent people from coming to your side. They want to paint you the way they want you to be. Not that you are that way, very rarely. They want to portray you in their recreation of history, their revision, their history revisionists. So if they want to paint you as a liar, they'll call you a liar. And they'll try to twist things and turn things to make you look like you're lying. If they want to paint you as somebody that breaks up marriages, they'll call you an adulterer. They'll call you a floozy, whatever. And they'll try to twist things to make it look like you were. And they're very good at this and very convincing. So everybody will believe them. You're never going to win with them. You're never going to stop them. And the point you have to get to is, okay, they're going to say these things about me anyway. Let them say them. I know who I am. My friends know who I am. And if they don't know who you are, then that's their problem. And if they knew who you were, or thought they knew who you were, and at one point were on your team, so to speak, and now the narcissist has convinced them that you're totally the opposite, and they believe that baloney, then let them go with the narcissist, because they basically deserve whoever they're, latching onto, that's smearing you all over the place. You don't need them. True friends don't treat you that way. True friends try to see you through what they know you to be. They don't go being swayed by somebody that comes along, or somebody that you were even mutual friends with. They have brains in their head, and they're like, this isn't how I've seen Laura. This is not how Laura acts. This is not legit. So, yeah, high school bullies, even younger than high school, adolescent, junior high, definitely. And narcissists are very young in development. They act like children. In fact, a lot of narcissists, they have scientifically gone back and found out that they were stunted in their emotional growth and their psychological growth at a certain age. And a lot of them are actually reverting back to that age when they don't get their own way. So yes, they look like spoiled brat children that aren't getting their way. They scream, they pound on the table, they have temper tantrums. This isn't the way it's supposed to work. Blah, 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 blah. You don't understand. She's a liar. She's this, she's that. And everybody watching them is like, oh my gosh, what is with this person? They're like losing their cool over something minor. That's a narcissist for you. Okay. And yes, Becky did this quite often. Like when our relationship ended, she would go from, I'm so sorry, I'm a terrible person, blah, 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 to Laura, you did this and that, and you did this, and you guys don't listen to her. She's a this and that. She would go back and forth and flip-flop all over the place. So let's see. So yeah, the smear campaign. You could go legal. If it gets that bad that it's really causing problems on your job or in your personal life, you could take it legal if you have a lawyer and put out a lawsuit against defamation of character, harassment, whatever. What I'm finding out is, especially if it's on the internet, people don't want to get involved. Police don't want to get involved. Even though they say they have these anti-bully campaigns, a lot of times that's for younger kids. They can't believe adults bully adults because grown adults, mature adults, don't do that. But yeah, there are some that are not mature. There are some that are stunted in their emotional, psychological growth who lash out like children and are ruthless in doing so. If you defend yourself during this stage of the narcissistic smear campaign, which I often do because I'm like, no, that's not true. I'm going to speak my truth. If they're saying that, yeah, don't bother. Don't bother. You're giving them supply. They love it. They love every minute of it when you defend yourself and say, that's not true. I don't know why they said that. That's not who I am. They're just sitting back going, interesting. Got her right where I want her. Awesome. Maybe she'll come crawling back to me and try to stop me from saying all this stuff. Don't bite the bait. Don't bite the bait. Because remember, it's bait and switch with them. Next. I need you. Please come back to me. I didn't mean it. A lot of times borderline personalities will exhibit this trait too. I hate you, don't leave me type of thing. Yeah. So narcissists get a narcissistic injury at times when you confront them about their wrongdoing. So that might kind of invoke this response in them where, I didn't mean it. You're right. I'm a terrible person. I should have never treated you that way. Or if you've already parted from them, you might get a random text message or a random email saying, I just lost my auntie and I know that you're an empathic person and you can kind of comfort me through this. And I just want to talk to you. I promise I won't use up all your time. All I need is like 15 minutes. If you can just spare me 15 minutes, I just need someone to talk to and pray with. Don't bite the bait. Don't do it. Now, if somebody is really hurting and somebody lost somebody, I get it. I sympathize with that. I have compassion. I have empathy. I do. But when a narcissist does that, 9 times out of 10, probably more than 9 times out of 10, they're trying to reconnect to you so that they can get narcissistic supply from you. It's always about the supply, always. So if there is a family situation, a crisis, whatever, they will use that to hook you back in. That's called hoovering. So don't get sucked in by the Hoover vacuum, okay? Just don't. If they're that hurt, let a therapist help them. If somebody died in their family, say, I will pray for you, no problem. Please see your therapist, see your counselor. It's not my place. I'm not going to go back into that with you. I'm sorry, but I do care, but I can't do it. I'm not going to. Don't give them your power by biting the bait. Don't let them do that to you. Okay, next. Okay, they do the devalue, discard, replace, and new start very quickly. One thing about a narcissist in a relationship, when you meet one, they move super quick. They will become your bestie in a matter of days. They will go through this whole love bombing process where you are their best friend and they love nobody like you. they've never met anyone like you. You're so talented, so gifted. I'm so glad I know you. I don't know what I did before I met you. The whole 9 yards, wine 'em and dine 'em type of routine, the sun, moon, and stars story. And then they're already working on finding a replacement for you as soon as you get into the relationship, and maybe before. They already got somebody new in mind. Remember, they're not in it to connect with you. They're not in it for a relationship. They are in it to get supply. And when you don't supply them, they have to find supply somewhere else. So how do people stay married to narcissists for years? They're the supply. They know how to give them what they want. They know when to compliment them. They know when not to criticize them, when not to draw attention to a flaw or a thing that's going on that concerns them or troubles them. They basically, the narcissist plays the pipes and the victim dances to them. That's how they stay in relationships and marriages. That's really the truth of it. And anybody married to one or in relationship will tell you that. So they're already working on finding your replacement very quickly after they hook up with you. In Becky's case, she found the replacement in my ex-best friend. Remember the one that she claimed she was going to help me heal from the breakup of? Yeah, she hooked up with her. She was probably easy access, pretty much the closest person. And plus, I talked to her a lot about how Dove acted towards me and what happened, which was interesting because when Dove finally met her, because they did meet in person, just like I met Becky in person, Dove did not get treated anything like I did, but she did get abused narcissistically. Becky didn't use the same tactics. And then when Dove had her daughter go and stay with Becky, same thing. She didn't use the same tactics. So when we compared notes, see, narcissists are smart. They're not dumb people. They're very cunning and intelligent people. When we compared notes, Dove, her daughter, and me, or I, whatever, it wasn't lining up. So therefore, maybe Becky figured, well, if I'm doing something different with Dove, obviously when Laura talks to Dove, she's not going to have the same story. So Dove isn't going to believe her. So see, they do the divide and conquer thing and triangulation thing, even after they've ditched you and replaced you. It never ends. This is what they're trained in from the time that they learn as a child. They can only rely on number one. And they should always be looking out for number one, even if it means like the crabs in the bucket, they climb on top of people to get to the top. Anyway, so the devalue, discard, replace, and now the narcissist, however you want to say it, moves on very quickly. They hook up with that new supply source like that, the new person. And you're just left in the dust going, what the heck just happened? First of all, it blew my mind because Becky obviously knew Dove had hurt me. She had helped me heal from the pain of the rejection and the breakup of my relationship with Dove. Why would she hook up with her right in front of my face on a computer, talking about how you're going to have this place in my ministry, blah, blah, blah. And I caught on to it. I was like, Becky, what are you doing? So she got off the computer eventually and she came over to me. She goes, don't you think I don't know what she's trying to do? Like she painted it like Dove was trying to move into my place in the ministry. She's like, girlie, I told you, you are part of this family. You will always be part of my ministry. I'm never going to part from you. You don't have to worry about anything. I see she's trying to manipulate me. Give me a little bit more credit than that. I know what's happening. No, that wasn't what was happening. What was happening was Dove and Becky were forming an alliance and they were planning on booting me out. So Dove could have my place. That's what was happening. And I wasn't stupid and I knew that. So I just kind of kept my mouth shut because as I told you before, I was sort of trapped in the situation. Had to wait for her to give me the car to get out of there. So anywho, so yeah, she moved on to Dove really quickly. As soon as I left her house and got home, hey, Jeff, good morning. She already had hooked up with Dove. She already had her in the ministry. They already had plans for Dove to go and meet her in person, get to know each other, bond with each other, head to Africa together. I don't think they ever did go to Africa because I think the relationship with Dove got discarded pretty quickly. Narcissists are very quick at what they do. It could take like 3 to 6 months and they can be done with you. But during those 3 to 6 months, and here's what you have to hear. So listen to this carefully. They're love bombing you. They're connecting with you. They are messing with your psyche. They are creating a trauma bond with you so that if you don't do what they say, or you call them out on something, or you point out something they're doing wrong, they can snip the strings that they have attached to you very quickly, and you can go falling to the ground very hard. They know this. They enjoy this. This is what they do. It's great entertainment for them. I've often compared them as a cat to a mouse. It's just literally what they do. All right. So the one thing I wanted to tell you about, though, that I have not gotten into, just a second. The physiological aspect of this. When somebody is attacking you, smearing you, bad-mouthing you, telling lies about you, your reaction is going to be to defend yourself, to prove them wrong, to let everybody else know that they're full of you know what. The reason why you feel this way is that narcissistic addiction, and it is an addiction that's formed through trauma bonding, is a physiological thing. It produces peptides inside of you. So every time you talk to defend yourself, it's stirring up these peptides. I believe peptides are something that are healing. Like when you do this, it's like like a relief type thing, or a release. I have to do more study on peptides. I don't know much about them. So that's what you're doing. You're trying to give yourself some sense of relief and reestablish who you are, because you know who you are, and you know that the narcissist is lying, and a lot of people are believing the lies, and you're trying to stomp your feet and say, no, that's not true. That's not who I am. That's not what I did. That's not how it happened. And the narcissist is enjoying every moment of this, every moment, because what is it? Narcissistic supply. And that's what they're all about. The thing is, it doesn't make it better for you. It doesn't make the narcissist stop smearing you. It doesn't make people believe that you really are this good person and not this bad person the narcissist is painting you and portraying you to be. So you're just wasting your breath and your energy, and you're giving your power over to that situation instead of working on self-care and reestablishing who you are and reconnecting with what you enjoy doing and what your talents and your skills are before the narcissist tried to emotionally suck the life out of you and drain you. Don't do it. Don't fall prey to that. Don't invoke those peptides through trying to defend yourself. It doesn't do any good. And as we know, hey, honey, good morning. As we know, YouTube, social media, Twitter, whatever, TikTok, they don't give a rip about it. They're getting money. They're getting revenue. Whether the narcissist is smearing you or your best friend, they don't care. They care that you are making waves and that people are attracted to your chat room or to the narcissist chat room. And there's a whole lot of drama going on, and it's making money. When you make money, YouTube makes money. When you make money, social media gets paid. It's what they do. Why on earth would they stop it? It doesn't even make sense. Now, if it's out and out death threats or something, occasionally social media will do something about it. But I've seen some really horrendous stuff around YouTube that they do nothing about. They turn a deaf ear and a blind eye to stuff because it's making them money. That's the bottom line. And when a narcissist has a channel on here and they have it monetized, they're making money. They're going to let people be bullied in their chat room. I've seen that in at least probably 5 or 6 chat rooms in the last couple weeks, where there is like out and out threats, bullying, cruelness going on in the chat. And the host of the chat room, the creator, whatever, is just ignoring it because they're making money. And the longer they can keep you engaged, the longer they do it, the more they like it, the more they enjoy it. No, this is not an upload. This is real life live streaming. And actually, if you read the room details, you would see that I said it was an open chat. And I would love to talk to anybody about this, and you can share your experiences and chime in anytime while I'm talking. It probably seemed like an upload because I just presented the same way. But no, it was not an upload. So yeah. Anyway, that's pretty much it. That's the twists and turns and this physiology behind the narcissistic addiction. They have proven that when you are in a trauma bond with a human being, like a narcissist for that matter, it is harder to break that addiction to that person than it is to break off of heroin. 10 times harder, actually. So I don't know how they get their stats. That's kind of interesting. 10 times. How do you measure it's 10 times? How do you do that? Anyway, the point is it's hard. It's an addiction. And when you form relationships with narcissists, they are very charming. They're very convincing. They're very intriguing and interesting and entertaining. They're usually very humorous, at least the ones that I've hooked up with. And it's very difficult to break that bond. It's very difficult to not react to them when they smear you, or even if they're being funny and goofy and friendly and they've switched back into I'm here to save you mode, the rescuer savior mode. You want to chime in. Don't do it. It just gives them supply. They don't want that connection with you. And if they do reconnect with you, it's not going to last. It's just going to be long enough to get more supply from you of whatever kind and displace you or replace you, discard you, devalue you, and move on very quickly like they do. So there you go. Hopefully this helped somebody and gave some information that maybe you didn't know before. I hope it was interesting to you anyways. Does anybody have any comments that you want to share? Thank you, JK Love, for chiming in when you did. Sorry you went through that with your mother-in-law. It's really difficult with family members. I have a family member right now that is definitely narcissistic and a moneymonger. And this person is just, he'll say the most tactless, rude things to people. Always at family gatherings and he's just ruthless, and his whole family's like that. I remember sitting at a kitchen table and watching them compete over who had a bigger sailboat or a better job or a bigger house, and they were just so mean about it. And it was like watching a tennis match, like back and forth, like this person says this, that person says that. This one's competing here and that one's saying that. It was ridiculous. But yeah, that's what they do. It's all about the image. It's all about the stuff. Now, it depends what kind of narcissist you are, too. If you're a image-driven one, what do you call them? I used to know all these terms. It's been so long since I've studied this stuff and researched it. Somatic narcissists. They're all about the looks. They're the bodybuilders. They're the ones that go up on podiums and are in politics and stuff like that. They're usually CEOs. The cerebral narcissists are the very witty, smart ones that are very cunning mentally and very intelligent people. Some people think that high-functioning autism is very similar to narcissism because they can seem aloof and kind of cold, and they don't connect readily with people. So there's a fine line between that, though. It's really the motive behind it. High-functioning autism is not something that someone can control. Narcissism is something that someone chooses to do. They have control over it, and they choose to go the wrong way. They choose to go the mean way. So, yeah. Anyway, nobody's really saying anything, so I assume I am finished here. Thank you, everybody, for coming in and listening to me. I'll have more interesting narcissism tidbits to share with you, some more traits and stuff. But I just came across this today, and I decided to put it out there. And like I said, hopefully it helped somebody. So you guys have a great day. Be blessed, and shalom.